G'day, folks. How are you? Hope you're having a pretty good sort of a Tuesday. Sorry about a show for last night. I did say June could be a little bit random. So, yeah, there is a few things going on in our world at the moment. But there is a lot more going on in a lot of yours. And that is in part what the friends part of tonight's discussion is going to be about. We are a community here, folks, and I'm really proud of our community. Tonight we are back on Nun2K on our, the biggest channel, I guess, Voice of Freedom has. If you aren't part of Voice of Freedom on that YouTube channel, it's probably because you don't know how to find it. And that is because it's stored under a name called Nun2K, N-U-N-N, the number 2, the letter K. There's about 10,700 subscribers on there, but if you're not one of them, please go over and join it. I don't often get the subscribers that go and turn up there because that channel in particular is highly, highly quashed. It is not promoted in any way. It's limited in everything to do with monetization. It doesn't get any good, but I just like to stick it up on occasionally and get a few more subscribers. So if you aren't watching on Nun2K, this is the first night we've been allowed back on it in 2 weeks. I do have another strike hanging over my head, so I'm going to try and be a little bit careful about what we say and do there, because I've had 2 now, I think, in the last 3 months. If I get a third, or I get a third while I've got a second strike up, they will just kick the channel and it'll be gone completely, which is, not the world's greatest loss. We still have Voice of Freedom and Voice of Freedom on YouTube, but of course the Rumble channel is where a lot of people are going these days to watch the show. And hello to everybody there, which reminds me, I've got to bring up the Rumble chat on a different screen, or I will never see what questions it is you lovely folks are trying to ask me. So give me a moment here. This could get a little nasty depending on whether or not there is a muted audio. Thankfully, there does seem to be a muted audio. So there you go. I'm watching the Rumble chat. Folks, if you want to get involved in the chat, let me just make the thing a scale I can see. And if you would like to come in and be involved in that, we would love to have you in the chat. I will do everything I can to try and keep up with it. Oh, that's good. I've just made it resized, and all I can see is my buff head on it, and I can't see anything else. Who's ringing me? Is there a problem? It's Vince ringing me. It's very rare that Vince would ring me if there isn't a problem. All right, so tell me, folks, is there a problem in there anywhere? Can you hear me, I guess, is the question. If you are in the Rumble chat, please let me know. If you are in the Facebook chat or in the any of the YouTube chats, they should all pop up here. But yeah, just let me know if you can hear me okay. I want to see that the microphone is working and doing all those things. Otherwise, I imagine Vince is going to ring me again. Everything at my end says it's working. So all okay, all okay. Sorry, Vince, you're going to have to hang on. Hopefully he's ringing me to tell me that the bad news he gave me early. Oh, thank you very much, Dream Believer Geek from Grafton in New South Wales. Beautiful part of the world. And drive past it a lot. Been to it occasionally. But yeah, beautiful part of the world. Evening, Bradley. Hello, Toxic. Paul Orchard was in early. I think, Paul, you must have got the very first message out on Nun2K, I think, because you were in at 5:15. I think that's cheating. Dave O was in at sort of 6:27. He did pretty well. And Keefe, g'day, Roy's are in the house at 6:29. So we're getting a bit of a race going on there between the boys. Don't know where the girls are so far tonight. Sunflower's in. Hello, beautiful lady. Hope you're having a good week. And Neville, Chris, Pamela. Hello, Kate. Toxic. So I said a g'day to Toxic. Veronique is there. Starseeds. Chris. Just the man I'm hoping was going to pop into the chat tonight. So let's get back to what I was talking about. Friends. Now, we are a big community here, folks. we don't know each other. That's probably the difficult thing. And these chat rooms are so important because I've been made aware over the last couple of days of just how important you are to other people inside that chat room. Okay. And I don't know if you're aware of how important you and your contributions in that chat room are. Trolls notwithstanding, the community that has been built up here cares about the people who are in it. And I guess, like, you miss me if I'm not on for a night. We miss you if you're not in the chat room for a night, or 2 nights, or 3 nights, or 4 nights. We start to get a little bit concerned, and there is, believe it or not, a little bit of a network, I believe, uh, that isn't broad, it isn't huge, it isn't all expansive, but maybe one day it could be. But there is a network of people in this chat who are seriously concerned about others in the chat, and they reach out by whatever means they have possible to try and find out if there is anything that can be done for somebody that might be suffering for one reason or another, or dealing with a stress in the world for one reason or another. And I know that there are those amongst us that have struggles in their life. We all have struggles in our life. There is nothing unique about you or your struggle, for that matter. And a very smart man once said to me that the answer to every problem is in the room if you are prepared to ask the question and ask for the help to find the answer. Someone in that room will have the answer. Well, our chat room is a big room. And while we may not always have the answer, we will always find a way to it. And we care about those people in there. So if you are struggling for whatever reason, reach out. You aren't alone. Some of you have my number. Some of you have, well, all of you have my email address. Maybe it can't always be me. Maybe it can't be me always on the phone. But there is a network in this group that is obviously making contact outside of the group, and they care about everybody in it. I'm so proud and so pleased that this has developed, all without anything to do with me. What you guys get up to in the chat room is what you guys get up to in the chat room, and I have a look at it later. Sometimes I sort of scan through it, and I obviously try and look for questions. But beside that, I don't really participate in the chat. But what you have built, and you have built it, not me, what you have built is a wonderful community, a wonderful, caring community that keeps an eye out for others in it. And that, goes for folks who disappear for a day or 3, right through to the trolls that come in and try and disrupt the community. You are strong. You are really strong folks. Trolls don't live in this community very long. They stick their heads up. They realize nobody's going to engage with them. There's no point in engaging with them. They're just looking to try and get something out of you, G you up a bit. They're certainly not going to G me up a bit. As soon as we all come to understand that none of us can be all things to all people, and it's okay for some people not to like you, the better off we'll all be. That goes for everybody in the broadcast side of the freedom movement all the way down to everybody in the freedom movement. There is no room for ego in what we're doing here, folks. None. There is only room for growth in humanity, is, I think, the best way I want to put it. Growth in humanity. And for us to grow, we're going to have some significant issues facing us. And some of those issues we've discussed in the programs previous, some hundreds of them. We keep saying times are close. Been saying that now, been praying for that now for at least 2 years. I think we're probably at the most realistic point. If we're asking for time frames, we are at the most realistic point of the fight at the moment. There is a heap going on in the world. And of course, some of the warnings are coming back out again about making sure you have your food stocks prepared. You've got some cash in your wallet. And you've got some couple of weeks worth of food, maybe more, tucked away. Now, I think the maybe more part will extend to maybe some different parts of the world. I'm sure that if there is going to be some kind of a global lockdown, then they'll have most of it in charge in hand within the 2 weeks, I would have thought. That's why it could be shorter, but there might be some stop-out bits, might go a bit longer. And I think it's probably going to be triggered, as I said the other day, with something to do with what's going on in the Ukraine between NATO and Russia. I'm not going to say Ukraine and Russia because it's not Ukraine. Ukraine ran out of weapons and a lot of people very early on. No, the weapons they're using are all NATO weapons. So assuming that the Americans stopped providing NATO weapons to NATO some time ago, those weapons will be coming from Germany, France, the UK, and various other, Saudi maybe, other countries. I'm trying to think. Turkey might be involved in there a bit with weapons supply too. Saudi Arabia maybe not so much. But yeah, some serious stuff going down there. Now, the propaganda coming out of Zelensky's home state is, as you would expect, all things going beautifully well. The facts are radically different. I've been looking at a bit of Russian stuff recently, and you might say, oh, it's Russian propaganda. Well, there is more cause to believe the Russian propaganda than there is to believe the NATO propaganda, which is exactly what it is, disguised as Ukrainian propaganda. It's NATO propaganda, nothing surer than it. And I choose to believe the Russian more than I choose to believe the NATO. That's my choice. That choice can be yours. But go and have a look at some of this stuff. It is indicative of the media and how they are lying to us about not just, well, they lie to us about everything. And they are certainly lying to us about the war. 350,000 Ukrainians died in the first month of the war. That's what we're hearing at the moment. 350,000. They didn't die at the hands of Russian. That's the other thing we're hearing. We're hearing about mass graves in Ukrainian territory where Russians have never been. But the deaths have been blamed, obviously, on Russia, or are going to be blamed on Russia in the future. But these mass graves have been discovered early, if you like. So there is a lot of stuff that people believe about Russia, or think they believe about Russia, that is completely incorrect. And of course, the Aussie Cossack, I suppose, has the best updates on that kind of thing. He does all the translating. I've been doing my best with Google Translate and a few other bits and pieces, but I'm sure he will be showing some of the videos and whatnot that I've seen today. I haven't had time to capture them because I do have quite a bit of other stuff here I want to show you. But just to finish up on our friendship, there are folks here who struggle on a daily basis, like I do, whether it be financially, like me, whether it be mentally, like my daughter, whether it be in a myriad other ways. We have a community here whose arms are open, loving, warm, and will wrap around you if you need the help. If you need help, reach out. Please reach out. Do not disappear off the face of the earth. I've lost one too many friends to suicide, and I'm not prepared to stand around and be unaware of your struggles. If you're struggling and you're feeling that way, then there are places and people who can help. I'm not a professional. I'm not that person, but I can help you get in touch. So just know that while I might be the face, in that chat room, you have so many friends, so many friends. All you need to do is reach out, let them know that you are struggling and you need a little bit of help. All right, let's get into what we're going to chat about. Or is there a few things here to talk about? Sovereign Joe, what do we got here? The WEF and BRICS, do all roads lead to global corporate digital biometric face recognition, tracking and trace? Well, that's certainly all the roads they seem to be travelling at the moment, Sovereign Joe. I think you've nailed them all. Well, at least most of them. Whether or not you've nailed them all is a completely different matter. A few military planes out tonight. If you notice, for about the last 3 weeks, military have been really, really busy in Australia. Really, really busy. Dave and Raquel in Cairns. Hello, guys. How are you? Hope you're going well and have recovered from the great arrival, as we are calling Michelle Lee's arrival into Port Douglas. What a fabulous day that was. Okay, let me have a look. Any questions here? Yeah, a bunch of weapons have turned up in Mexico. So Chris has pointed out here that a whole bunch of weapons have turned up in Mexico. Those weapons aren't just rifles. Those weapons are US-issued bazookas, if you like, Lord's rocket-like rocket launchers, anti-tank weapons, and they are in the hands of the cartel in Mexico. There is video evidence of it, and I do have that in one of the hundreds of emails I was going to try and suck in to show you a bit of stuff of, and I have simply run out of time. All right, getting off family, let's get on to the opportunities for family, shall we? I did tell you we were going to run a competition, and if you did see the place card tonight, it will show you this. It is the competition. Da, 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 da. Now, what we're going to do, folks, is give away to our members a 10-ounce, absolutely stunning 10-ounce bar of silver, thanks to Ainsley Bullion. You can see it on the right there. The real one is a lot bigger. But a 10-ounce bar, I'm going to see whether or not we can actually go through the pour process of this and the stamping process. So you can see it poured from liquid to its state, to its finished state with the Ainsley Bullion stamp on it and associated other bits, and then have it delivered. That might not be possible. I'm not sure whether or not it'll work within the time frame. I'll have to have a chat with Paul. So we thought we might try and get you to write a limerick, because the nature of these things being what they are, the competition, I mean, we can't just reach into a barrel and pick out a member's name. You have to do something to win the prize. So who doesn't love a limerick at the end of the day? There might be a few people who don't know what a limerick is, but hang tight. I'll tell you about that in just a second. So along with the first prize, that will be for the best overall limerick, a 10-ounce bar of Ainsley Bullion silver. We will also give away some runners-up prizes, and I think it's 3 we're going to give away. So 3 1-ounce coins we will give away too, and we will do that thanks to Cass and the crew at Freedom Financial Solutions. So you essentially have, I was going to say 4 chances to win, but you really don't. We do have a few rules, but let's start off with how to write a limerick. So you've got to follow the rhyme scheme AABBA, which means that at the end of the A lines, lines 1, 2, and 5, they've got to rhyme with each other. And the end of the B lines, that's lines 3 and 4, they have to rhyme with one another as well. So I got to thinking about this when I thought, oh, look, why don't we go and do a rhyming competition or some sort of competition? What can we do? A limerick competition. And I thought, I haven't done a limerick competition in years and years and years, much less tried to write a limerick in years and years and years. So as you can see from the rules, we have 3 stipulations. You must include in your limerick one of the following 3 things. Voice of Freedom, or you can say VoF if that rhymes better for you. Ainsley or Ainsley Bullion, if that rhymes better for you. And good luck with this one, Freedom Financial Solutions or FFS. And I reckon there's a lot could be done with FFS, just between you, me, and the gatepost. I know you're sniggering. Stop it now. All right, so you've got the feel for it, AABBA. So that means that all the A lines got to rhyme with each other, all the B lines got to rhyme with each other. It's best if the thing ends with a bit of a smile or a giggle or it has a message to it or whatever. So I sat down and while I was waiting for something to happen yesterday that never happened, I managed to bang out a couple of examples for you. Now, here is one for the Voice of Freedom. A city of face masks and heathens, coerced and berated by leaders, but the people fought back against the medical hacks and found strength in their voice of freedom. There you go. Not real good, but I'm not trying to win the prize. I'm just giving you an example. Here's another one. Control of your wealth is key. Invest wisely with advice and see. Be it silver or gold, you are bound to behold control of your wealth via Ainsley. There you go. All right, not that hard. All right, I admit, probably not my best work. You can do better. Don't be discouraged. Get into it. Here's another one. Ainsley Bullion will give a good rate if you're buying or selling some weight. But silver or gold or that platinum billfold, Ainsley Bullion is best for you, mate. So there you go. 3 examples of what you can do for a limerick. And I banged those ones out in about 10 minutes yesterday, and I haven't written a limerick in probably 30 years. So I actually had to go and look up again, how to write a limerick. One that didn't start with there was an old lady from Nantucket, or there was a woman from Nantucket, a girl from Nantucket. She came from Nantucket. This is what you're going to win. Beautiful 10-ounce silver bar of Ainsley Bullion. 99.999999999% proof. Well, I might have exaggerated on the nines, but there's definitely 0.9% solid silver. A beautiful, beautiful bar to either begin your collection or add to it if you don't already have one of these. Now, the size of a 10-ounce Troy bar is quite significant. It'll fit, in the reasonable size in the palm of your hand, and you all know what a 1-ounce coin looks like. I might even try and dig one out later, not tonight, in another show, and show you what's going to happen there. So thank you so much to Freedom Financial Solutions. Cass and the team there are putting up the runners-up prizes. I think it's 3 1-ounce coins that she's putting up for that. And thank you to Ainsley Bullion for putting up the 10-ounce bar, which I know you will love to have in your collection. I'd certainly love to have it in mine. And entries for that will pretty much start immediately. They were going to be able to open tonight. They are open to members only. So if you've already joined us as a member, then you are able to be involved with this. So go to work now, write your limericks and hang on to them for a minute, because Vince is feeling a bit crook tonight. He was going to have the webpage up and ready this evening, but we might give him a day or so to try and get a little bit better. So don't launch off to the website yet, because there isn't a page there for it yet. But hopefully in the next couple of days there will be. And if you aren't a member, then please go to the website and join. If you're good at limericks and you want a chance at winning either the 10-ounce silver bar or a 1-ounce coin, then join. For as little as $1.25 a week, you can become a member at Voice of Freedom, and we appreciate every little bit. Things are pretty tough at the moment, and I didn't know that I owed so many people so much money, but it can't be Telstra yet, because that's still turned on. The bastards can still ring me. So at any rate, every little bit helps. If you can become a member, we would love to have you, and we'd like to give you the opportunity to win a little bit back from us. So that 10-ounce silver bar from Ainsley Bullion or a 1-ounce silver coin from Freedom Financial Solutions could be yours if you are a member. I stress, it is a members-only contest. And go forth, get your membership now if you haven't already got it. Vince is working on our membership login code, and that's what you will use to put your entries in. We will read your entries for the most part on the air over the next couple of weeks as they come through. And I hope we have a lot of fun with it. Have a lot of fun with it, but make it about the community. Make it about, if you can put those 3 things in there, you'll certainly get great bonus points. But remember, this is all about community. It's all about having fun. And this is all going to benefit all of us in the long run. Have no fear. So if you want to be involved, you have to be a member. So go to vofhq.com and go there for the membership button. If you don't want to be a member, but you don't mind the idea of donating, there is a donate button there too. And we appreciate anything that you would choose to donate. And it will go to a very worthy cause. Saying that. All right. I think I've pretty much plugged the thing again. I'll give you another look at it. There are the 3 things you've got to mention. You must mention Voice of Freedom, or Ainsley Bullion, or Freedom Financial Solutions. You don't need to put them all in one limerick. Although good luck trying. If you can achieve that, I reckon you get some good brownie points. But if you want to write 3 different limericks like I did, and I haven't done one for Freedom Financial Solutions yet, if you want to do 3, then you are allowed to enter 3 per member. Okay, so you can do 1 for Voice of Freedom, 1 for Ainsley, 1 for FFS, and you're in with 3 chances to win. You might win the big prize, and I guess if you win the big prize, there's no chance of you winning a runners-up prize. But we'll love to have you in the competition. If you don't win the big prize, you're still in for the runners-up. And thanks to Cass and the team for bringing up those runners-up prizes. That's really great of the team for doing that. Thank you very, very much. All right, what are we going to get into first up? Some interesting stuff's going on in America. James Comer is the head of the House Oversight Committee in the US. Now, they've been having some hearings recently, and FBI Director Wray has been, well, on the hot plate, let's say. He has refused to answer on a number of occasions a number of questions coming from the congressman. And one of those questions specifically related to paperwork on a Joe Biden file that the FBI were refusing to produce to Congress. But they did offer to show James Comer and the leader of the other side, I've forgotten his name, who cares, just the two of them in a skiff. So they had to go into a secure environment to view this. Now, they wanted to remove some of the documentation from there and bring it into the congressional hearing. And the FBI refused to give them that information, refused. So James Comer has come out of that skiff today and made a very big statement. Have a listen to this.
FBI officials confirmed that the unclassified FBI-generated record has not been disproven and is currently being used in an ongoing investigation. The confidential human source who provided information about then Vice President Biden being involved in a criminal bribery scheme is a trusted, highly credible informant who has been used by the FBI for over 10 years and has been paid over 6 figures. These are facts, and no amount of spin and frankly lies from the White House or congressional Democrats can change this information. At the briefing, the FBI again refused to hand over the unclassified record to the custody of the House Oversight Committee, and we will now initiate contempt of Congress hearings this Thursday. Given the severity and complexity of the allegations contained within this record, Congress must investigate further. Americans have lost trust in the FBI's ability to enforce the law impartially and demand answers, transparency, and accountability. The investigation is not dead. This is only the beginning. It appears this investigation is part of an ongoing investigation, which I assume is in Delaware. The Oversight Committee will follow the facts and be transparent to the American people with our findings.
So there you go. Now, the words that you really need to listen to there were contempt of Congress. Contempt of Congress is an extremely serious charge. And bringing up FBI Director Wray next Thursday, by the sound of it, on a contempt of Congress charge could lead to him being actually thrown behind bars until he produces the documents they are demanding. Now, there was a lot of redacted documents apparently in what they were watching or had a look at to this morning. They want those all unredacted, and they want them to be freely available and transparent to the people. Whether or not that happens, well, who knows? The Democrats, obviously, in that Congressional Oversight Committee hearing will fight tooth and nail not to have any of that happen, but they are in the minority. And, well, they can vote as much as they like. It's never going to change anything. Question is, are there any turncoat rhinos in the Republican side sitting on that committee? I don't think so at this point. You'd be a brave man sitting on that committee. And I think Jim Jordan has something to do with that too. although he is chairman, I think, of the Congressional Committee on the Weaponization of the Media. The weaponization of the health system, I beg your pardon, not the media. So he sits on a couple of these things. And I dare say we're going to hear a lot more from him in coming days, possibly hours. It's bouncing between he and this James Comer at the moment about information release on behalf of the Republicans. And if you notice what they're doing, folks, they are demonstrating to the American public and to the broader public that's interested in the world, like us, I guess, the actual illegalities of what has gone on. The Durham report, which you can get at vofhq.com, just go to the criminal trials section and download it, that lays out in exquisite detail the multiple levels of corruption that the FBI and other agencies will go to in support of anyone except Trump, by the sound of it. But what they're doing at the moment by withholding information from Congress on the Biden, and they're saying there's an ongoing investigation. Comer believes that to be happening in Delaware, out of the Delaware office of the FBI. How much investigating is going on there? Absolutely bloody none. If there was any going on, Biden would already be in chains. Clearly, James Comer has seen enough, and the Republicans in general believe they have enough to impeach Biden right now. Why aren't they doing it? Why aren't they making those impeachment noises yet? Well, maybe because, like the law, the government moves extremely slowly but grinds very fine. And they're just trying to catch as many people as possible inside the system, aiding and abetting these bastards. So give it time, but I don't know how much more time there will be. That NATO exercise beginning just next door to Russia on the 12th of June, I think, is going to be significant. Of course, the other pressures will be on the financial world, and Australia's finance world has had its stress level raised again today. If you have a mortgage and you're struggling to pay it at the moment, my heart goes out to you. Another 0.25 basis point rise today from the Reserve Bank of Australia. Interestingly, the bloke they said wasn't going to be in charge of these things anymore last month was fronting it this month and saying that, yes, we have to put it up. Inflation, while it has reached its peak at 7%, we need to stay on it, and that means another 0.25 basis point rise in the interest rates. That'll take it to 4.1%, I believe, now. So I'm not sure what extra pressure that's going to place on your mortgage and on your household, but I'm sorry you've got to go through it. At some point, we're going to have to fight back. These bastards just can't be allowed to keep going on doing this. And given the complete disconnect the government seems to have with the housing stress at the moment in the market, both sales and rentals, they're going to put in, what they say, another 750,000 immigrants next year. I hope they give them all a Coleman's tent on the way past. I think Coleman's is Australian, aren't they? Maybe not. But get an Australian tent manufacturer at the very least, you pricks. But hand every family member a tent as they get off the plane, boat, or train, whatever they happen to turn up on, and send them inland, because that's the only place they're going to find anywhere to live. It's going to create all sorts of hell. Remember what happened when millions of people flooded into Europe, folks? You remember there was nowhere for them to live. Do you remember what they were doing? They were just traipsing around, moving from country to country through Europe, trying to get to, well, France, to cross the border, across the channel rather, and get into the UK. Some succeeded, not so many. Then where else did they go? They invaded Germany. And I can tell you from personal experience, I have friends in Germany, just how well that worked out. Do you remember the rapes? Do you remember the buses and trucks going through crowded groups at Christmas time? Do you remember the pure hatred on the streets, the theft of property of life and limb. That all happened through many countries, that these immigrants were encouraged to go into after they were encouraged to bail out from their own country in Africa. And of course, they all had one thing in common. We're also seeing a lot of stories about the fighting age men coming across the border in Mexico. Well, we've had that here, remember. Remember, we had 50,000 illegals under the Red-Headed Clown and Co. And I think Crud was part of it, but the Red-Headed Clown was in large part responsible for 50,000 illegal boat arrivals here. We had them turning up in a port in Broome, I want to say, or Port Hedland, driving up. Nobody'd seen them. They didn't, no radar, no plane, no nothing, no boat. They just drove up. Where do we tie up? Unbelievable. Well, America is having the same sort of issue at the moment, with it now believed that 7.5 million people have now illegally crossed the southern Mexican border with the US since Joe Biden became the president. 7.5 million illegals, and they are lined up by the tens of thousands right now to keep coming. There is very, very little disincentive being given to them, and by the Biden administration, they are doing very little indeed. In fact, when they do manage to cross either the Rio Grande or whichever way they come across, they are bussed to a welcome center, let's call it, because what else would it? But they're calling it a processing center, but it's a welcome center where they're given an identity, they're given a bit of a shower, a wash, a feed, they're put on a bus or a plane, and they are sent interstate immediately. And what states are they being sent to? Of course, they're being sent to all the Republican states. And they're being wrapped up like our immigrants were, while under conditioning of government control. They're being wrapped up to vote for the Dems next time round. That is their promise. You want to stay here, you vote for us. And that exact same thing happened here with the Labor Party and the illegals that were coming in from Indonesia. The exact same thing. They had teams on the ground there under the guise of aid, but one of the things you had to do if you wanted to be admitted into Australia was stand up and be ready to vote. And while you weren't an Australian citizen yet, and you hadn't been given citizenship papers, you were given an AEC. Well, maybe you weren't given. You signed. Somebody else probably filled it out for you. An AEC document that gave you the right to vote. And where did all those folks go? Well, some of them thankfully got sent home, but a lot of them didn't. A lot of them were held in detention for a long time. A lot of them let out into the community. And good luck to them. If they're living their life happily and safely and they're not impinging on our rights and lives, good luck to them. However, if to live that life, they have decided that they have to vote Labor for the rest of their lives because of, they were the ones that let them in, we've got to end that thought process right now. And hopefully with a lot of the truth that's going to come out about those bastards. Well, and I'm not picking on just Labor. It's all political bastards. When that truth comes out, hopefully they'll wake up to themselves and life, the universe, and everything will be a little bit better. There's been a lot of information come out. You might have seen Dr. David Martin recently. He addressed the UN, beg your pardon. He addressed the EU. And it was an amazing speech where he didn't quite say, I told you so, but he pointed out that he had been at the EU some 20-odd years previous, explaining that if they didn't do A, B, C, and D, they would be facing a crisis just like we are right now. And their crisis, the crisis of the UK, of the EU rather, seems to be a crisis of disintegration. It was a very, very good message that he put forward then. He was recently on another program, I think with Fox News, and he was talking about the jibbity jab. Now, asked about the expected death rates, he had a lot to say. Now, these numbers are based on an American population. I have very few math skills, as you all know. if you can figure it out on an Australian population basis, then I think that would be exceptional, and let me know. I will have a quick stab at it based on the numbers you're going to hear here. But I think at some point we're all going to be attending a lot of funerals. Have a listen to this.
By their own estimate, they're looking for 700 million people globally, and that would put the U.S. Participation in that certainly as a pro rata of injected population, somewhere between 75 and 100 million people.
That's in the USA, or that's the world?
No, that's in the United States, somewhere between 75 million and 100 million people.
And what's the time frame that they'll die in?
Well, certainly there's a lot of economic reasons why people hope that it's between now and 2028. Not the least of their concerns is that by 2028 we have a tiny little glitch on the horizon, which is the illiquidity of the Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid programs. So the fewer people who are recipients of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, the better. Not surprisingly, it's probably one of the motivations that led to the recommendation that people over the age of 65 were the first ones getting injected.
So that's the first time I've ever heard that portion of the argument. Did you catch that at the end? In 2028, America is going to run out of enough money to back its Medicaid and Social Security benefit schemes. And if they are not to be discovered of the theft of that money, because that's exactly what it is. You've paid it. It is well, we haven't, but the Americans have paid it. It is the people's money. They've paid it in tax and whatever else they've paid. And it's been taken from them, stolen from them, misused and abused, but have no doubt the shiny bum bureaucrats and the politicians, they all got paid. They all got their share. Now it's the people who are just going to go and get reamed. So America has a population of 330 million. They're predicting 75 to 100 million of them gone in 3 to 5 years from the squirt date. So the squirt date, well, still going, obviously, but third would be 25 to 28. So we would be looking at a number of significant deaths rising between now and 2028. Let's say at around 3.5, I would say 4, somewhere between 4 and 6.5 million people will die in the next 4 years. That's working, I think, my maths isn't good, remember, working on the same sort of figures or a rationale of David Martin. Now, that might be wildly blown out, so please don't trust my maths, but I would say, it's a little, he's predicting a little under a third of the population, so I would say, 7 million, 6.5, 7 million is about a third, a little under a third of our population, so we're going to be pretty close with that. All age groups. That's the other scary thing. All age groups. Now, this isn't going to stop because the bastards at the World Health Organization are going to continue trying to push their pandemics down our throat. And they are continually working towards that.
The world, however, requires a different level of legal mandates, such as the pandemic treaty, to navigate through a particular pandemic, should one occur, and it will. Prioritizing actions that may restrict individual liberties, mandating and sharing of information, knowledge and resources, and most importantly, providing fund for pandemic control efforts are all necessary during a pandemic. The means to carry out these actions are simply not currently at hand. Ladies and gentlemen, the path ahead is arduous, but we are making progress. The commitment made by member states to uphold and strengthen the IHR serves as an inspiration for the work of the WGIHR. The final package of proposed amendments for the WGIHR process will be submitted to the Director General in January 2024 for consideration by the 77th World Health Assembly. I thank you.
Yeah, so I heard a term there that I wasn't used to hearing. That's WGIHR. What is that? Well, that's this bunch of bastards. They are known as the Working Group on Amendments to the International Health Regulations. And what they're planned to do is to change and force through control so that the World Health Organization has the powers to control every country's pandemic response. It also means that the WHO are the only people who can declare a pandemic. And how useful would that be, to be the only ones who can declare a pandemic and then make every other country follow what you say? It is just unbelievable. They think they can get away with it. Unfortunately, because they have such a compliant bunch of bastards, at least on the Australian side and many other countries, they will get away with it unless we stop it. Make sure that your local member knows you are not in favour of the World Health Organization having any kind of control over medical anything in Australia, particularly when it comes to decisions and mandates and so forth. We have no particular reason to believe that a World Health Organization mandate would be any stronger in law than any other kind of mandate. And as many businesses and many individuals are currently and are about to find out, there is no strength in the word mandate at all, especially when your government refused to write legislation to back it up. You cannot force someone to have a medical procedure. It is illegal. The last time people did that, it was in Germany. You might recall it didn't work out so well. So, that World Health Organization has to be removed. And if there is a white hat movement in the world, please God, have them get that bunch of bastards sorted out as soon as possible. Now, once again, we go back to why aren't they just, if we know there are white hats in the world and we know there are these bad people, why don't they just take them out? Well, that's because you and I, we're into the book. We're deep into the book. We've read and we believe. There are so many more people in the world yet. The seesaw hasn't tilted to our side. When it does, God help them. Because, and I believe more and more people are waking up every day. I get new messages from people every day saying, oh, look, I've just, come to this realization. Can you answer this question? Can you help me with this? How do I find out about that? Well, there is many ways you can help, many ways you can learn, and many ways that you can spread that news. So if sharing this Voice of Freedom channel is part of what you choose to do, then thank you. That'd be great. Please join us if you haven't already seen the YouTube channel Nun2K, Nunn, the number 2, the letter K. Then go and subscribe to that one. That's where you'll find the Voice of Freedom. That is our main channel, and that is the one that's been kept off air for the last couple of weeks. If you haven't found us on Rumble yet, you can go and find us under the Voice of Freedom on Rumble as well. Or Ozeye, Ozeye. We'll also find the channel there. I haven't set the BitChute channel up yet. Of course, on Facebook, it's running there too. Spread it far and wide. We are all about community here at the Voice of Freedom, and we're all about learning and education. Here's something else I'd like to try and teach you about. If you are a yes voter for The Voice, please rethink what you are doing or the reasons why you are doing it. Have a look at this.
Australia. Government is now offering to pay people over $100,000 a year to transfer land into the hands of what they call First Nation people, to the benefit of government and council social programs. You will be part of a team that enables a broad range of social, cultural, environmental, and economic benefits to Queenslanders. From enabling councils to provide key infrastructure projects to community, to the transfer of land to our First Nations people. The voice to Parliament. Sounds more like constitutional segregation and theft every day. Can someone please disprove this?
Yep, anyone disprove that? Very keen to hear. Very keen to hear even. Western Australians, God, I feel for you lot too, particularly if you happen to own a farm. As of the 1st of July, some absolutely abhorrent laws have been instigated by that bastard McGowan and his team of sycophants. Now, McGowan well, fortunately for you, maybe unfortunately for everyone, has resigned. And I think he ended last Friday. I don't know whether or not he has been able to escape the state yet, folks, but my God, what he has done to your state is staggering. As of the 1st of July, folks, in case you aren't aware, if you're a farmer and working on the land, if you grow anything on your land for commercial profit, or, it's just to grow food, then you are going to get a real taste of what the voice and a yes vote for the voice is going to be like. Because from July the 1st, anything that needs to be planted more than 50 millimeters into the ground requires a permit from the Indigenous land councils of the area. You heard right. Anything that gets planted 50 millimeters or deeper into the earth on your property requires a permit before you'll be allowed to plant it. And you'll only get that permit under negotiation, are the words used, under negotiation with the Indigenous Land Council of Western Australia. Guess where that's going to go, folks? How much will that permit cost you? How many hundreds of thousands of acres of wheat are you growing? How much money will you make out of that? What percentage of that will you give us? That'll be that negotiation. And if they say no, all that land that you own, okay, all that 50 mil of topsoil that you own, because that's all you own, the 50 mil of topsoil, well, you can piss off and do whatever you like on that. You won't need a permit for that, but you won't be able to grow anything on it. And if you put cattle on it, I suspect they would charge you for the grass that you're going to grow to feed the cattle. This is absolute madness, folks. And tomorrow night, David Cole, Loompa, is coming back to join us. So Loompa's was going to be on last week, was out in the middle of bush somewhere, couldn't join us, which is fair enough. And he apologized profusely, but he is coming on tomorrow night. He's back in town in Darwin, so we'll have him on the show tomorrow night. And this will be something that we will talk about. He will be as horrified at this as no doubt you and I are. But it is something that we must be on the alert for. We must have this conversation with the friends and family around us, particularly the ones who think they are doing the right thing by voting yes. What you are going to do if you vote yes for the voice is vote our Indigenous people into slavery of a constitution. At the moment, they are outside. They are sovereigns outside our constitution. What Albo is proposing will bring them inside our constitution. Oh yeah, that's a great thing everybody's saying. Well, once they're inside the constitution, if you were receiving a royalty check, you won't anymore. If you were receiving some payment from the government because of your ethnicity, you won't anymore. All that'll go because you'll just be like us then, just another slave. Do not vote yourself out of sovereignty. To all our Indigenous brothers and sisters, do not vote yourself out of sovereignty. Understand they are trying to trick you. They are really trying to trick you. They will take everything from you, and they will see you and your family crushed into the ground forever. A vote yes for the voice will crush you and every other Australian along with you. So there is only one answer. Vote no for the voice. There's a couple of other things you could vote no for. If you were in England recently, I think St. John's is in England, have a look at what they did for their festival. and I never have understood, why is it so important for the LB, ABC, alphabet crew to gain support of the church? The Bible has always had a focus on or a view on homosexuality. Okay, it didn't accord with your lifestyle, but if you didn't want anything out of the church and the church didn't want anything out of you, why has the LBGTQAB alphabet crew decided to make the church the battleground? They did this when it came down to wedding and getting the right to get married. Nobody begrudges you the right to get married, not at all. But why do you want to go and do it in a church that clearly doesn't want you in there? Because what they've been teaching, and pardon me, that they've been teaching it for a lot longer than you've been around, why was it so important to get into the churches? Well, clearly we know why now in hindsight. Oh, it won't go any further. It's only just, two people who are in love want to get married. Well, okay, that's all it'll do. Well, look at us now. How far down the track are we from that? And now we have trans rights. I saw an argument today in the US where it was a council meeting and there was a trans boy making the argument to council that tampons should be available free of charge in the men's toilets, just the same as they are in the ladies' toilets for trans boys who can't afford their own tampons. When it was pointed out that boys don't menstruate, can't have periods, this trans boy got very upset because he's imagined that he has menstruated. He still has a penis or doesn't have a penis, I beg your pardon, has a vagina, does still menstruate, but doesn't go into the girls' toilets and get the free tampon, wants them to be put in the boys' toilets. Couldn't understand the difference between male and female, wanted to bring feelings into the subject. It was one of the nicest, it's a very long interaction. That's why I wasn't able to bring it up and show you. But it's a pretty interesting interaction. And it just goes to show that the entire trans argument is based on feelings, not science. And when you broach them with a science argument, the best they can do is cry like a girl, as well as look like one, I guess. But anyway, good luck to them. Painful as that must be. Now, let me go back into the comments here and have a look. Sunflower, you do not suck at poems at all. You suck at spelling poem, I'll just say that, but you do not suck. Limericks are not hard. And good luck to everybody who's going to get involved. I did see a thing up from Vince. In fact, I've got a couple of things here starred. Vince said he'll be working on the site tonight. Don't work yourself too hard, mate. If you're crook, go to bed, get yourself better. I prefer a happy and well Vince to one that's unwell and working himself into the wee small hours for us when he doesn't really have to. There's no real rush, folks. You write your limericks and hang on to them. As soon as the membership login area is open, you will be able to go in and we'll have track of you then and your entries. You may have to go in 3 times for your 3 different entries if you're going to write 3 different ones. But I don't know, Vince will figure all that out. He's the web god, so I have no doubt he'll be doing that tonight. Sudsy has the right idea. Keep buying precious metals, keep holding, and using the cash. Absolutely right. Go out and grab yourself some taco too, folks. If you've, as I've heard so many people say in the last couple of months, they've chewed their way through their food supplies, their emergency food supplies, because end dates were coming up, that kind of thing, use by dates. So they've chewed their way through it, but they have not replaced it. So if that's you, then get out there tomorrow and go and replace what you've taken out of your emergency supply kit. I have a feeling that sooner rather than later, we are going to be needing it. And I haven't got much of a one, so I'll come to your place. All right, we'll see how that goes. Yes, I think I showed that one earlier. So let me go back to the main feed and see what's going on. Paul, ABC Bullion do an update every 5 minutes. If you're wondering about the price of silver, hey, I can show you. If you're wondering about the price of silver, right now, that is the price you will pay at Ainsley Bullion for their 10-ounce Ainsley Silver Stacker Bar. All right. That is a little bit different. Actually, maybe I can change that to the correct bar if I go back. That is the correct bar. So $411.05 is what you will pay if you buy that off the Ainsley website today, right now. $11.05. Now, this is a live update website, so the price goes up and down every few minutes. I think Ainsley allow you to buy and sell silver online up until about 10 o'clock at night when the market closes. Not completely sure if they allow it overnight. It would be they would allow it. They would just give you the price tomorrow when they open up, rather than giving you a quoted price overnight. So that's what you would expect to pay. So that's first prize in our Limerick competition. And if I have a little bit of a look back, we should be able to find a silver coin of some note. That's a half ounce. That's probably a bit much. It might be a skippy. So there you go. For a skippy, you'll pay $43.05 at the moment. So that's what our runners up are likely to get, something along those lines at any rate. It may not be a skippy. It might be a bit more fancy. But somewhere around $43 for the runners-up prizes for that, folks. AinsleyBullion.com is the website you can go and check out. There's a live price monitor there too if you're interested in getting the live price out of it. Of course, Ainsley aren't the only people who do bullion. Feel free to go to anyone near you. Ainsley, of course, in Melbourne in Melbourne and Brisbane. ABC, I think, bullion in Sydney. I don't know about Adelaide. There's Good as Gold, who've popped up on the scene recently. I know Cass speaks very highly of them. And there are a couple of others, one on the Sunshine Coast, one on the Gold Coast, who are trading as well. Look around. You never know. You might be able to get a bit of a better price. Somebody did tell me the other day too that you might get a better price if you're looking to sell some of your gold or silver by going to a manufacturing jeweler. So I'm doing a bit of a look around for a manufacturing jeweler who might want to come on and tell me whether or not there's any truth in that. We'll see what happens. We may or may not have any luck. Daryl's got the right idea. Yes, mate, here to stay. No point complaining. Got faith in God, my creator, and your inner soul. Good on you, Daryl. And all power to you, brother. Yes, we need more of us out there side by side. I know it. People are going to say it sounds corny or it sounds weird or it sounds religious. But this is bigger than religion. This isn't religion. This is much bigger than religion. This is, don't think of it in the term of God. Think of it in the term of creator, all creation, and whatever being is responsible for that. And then think of all the evil. Think of all the most evil things that you can think of. And then come down a few rabbit holes that many of us have been down, and we'll show you that you have yet to come anywhere close to plumbing the depths of what you think evil is versus what man will do to another man or woman, and in particular a child. It'll horrify us all. But we need to learn it, because if we don't learn it, we will not grow. We cannot grow. We will be locked in this pathetic dream we are. Yeah, Chris, I hear you, brother. Wait till you find out who your real creator is. It'll blow your hair back. Yeah, Chris's Starseed's always got some interesting outlooks on all of this. And in fact, thank you, Chris, for the Dr. Sala link. I did enjoy watching that particular program a great deal. Certainly a man of great knowledge. And if you haven't caught up with Dr. Sala yet, folks, and you're interested in UFOs and the galactic well, that whole galactic story, then he has a number of videos up on YouTube. You can go and check him out. And we have reached out to see whether or not he'll come on the show, but whether or not he does, I don't know. I actually reached out to the guy from 7.4 Gear the other day. If you don't know anything about 7.4 Gear, you're probably not into planes or flying things, but there is a 747 pilot that has a YouTube channel called 7.4 Gear. And I reached out to him because he mentioned the other day in an intro to a show how he'd told a little white lie. And he wanted to straighten that up. Now that as he was saying, a little white lie, it wasn't a bad little white lie. It was in the vein of Santa, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, that kind of little white lie. And then he threw on the end of it, and the earth is flat, or the world is flat, and smirked a bit, and then just moved on. So I sent a request to see whether or not he might be interested to come on the show and just talk about that a little bit. I got a reply back from his assistant, and he's a bit busy flying at the moment. And no, he definitely doesn't believe the earth is flat. He was doing that as a joke, and he has done a couple of programs on it. So if you go back through the 7.4 Gear library, I'm sure you'll find Kelsey's view on a flat or a round earth. Whatever you feel about it, everybody has a different view. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Institution is a great way of explaining religion. It is an institution. It gives you some programming. It programs your mind. It tells you what you can't look at. It tells you what you can accept. Yeah, it's all pretty shit stuff, really, religion. And the Catholic religion, the Roman Catholic religion, have a lot to answer for. Any reasonable viewing of some of the areas they have inside the Vatican, where they supposedly pray to God and yet have Satan rising up out of a demon-filled background, a snake room that, you can see the eyes of the snake, the teeth, the fangs. The people sit in the belly of the snake. It is the congregation sits in the belly of the snake. It's just absolute filth. And it is right there in the Vatican for everyone to see. But anyway, it is what it is. Chris, I like what you're saying there. Jim Jordan definitely is a pit bull. Yeah, I think, Appy, you're right. The Delaware Corporation is what's going to be exposed, and the Biden's fingers in it, the millions of dollars that they have made and hidden throughout there the whole time. Thanks, folks. I think we're coming pretty much to the end of what we're doing here tonight. I'm just going to scan down and see if there's any more questions. Tomorrow night, of course, David Cole, Lumpa, is coming back on. And if you are interested in coming on a Lamarama tour with Voice of Freedom, then they have pushed it back to August. The one we were looking at doing in July was clearly, we didn't really have enough lead up time to get enough people organized to allow people to get the money together. But David and his team have gained permission for us to go back in August, but we need 20 people to do it. So if you are keen on coming on this, I think it's 8-day, 9-night journey, or maybe it's the other way around, 8 days, 8 nights, 9, whatever it is. We're sleeping undercover. We're going to go and see the stars. We're going to go and learn a great deal of cultural history of this nation. And I think it's important that we do learn this. Every Australian needs to be grounded in our cultural background from our First Nations people. We are all Indigenous. If you were born in this land or on this land, you are Indigenous to it. Just because you are white, there is no real reason you should miss out on the benefits and understanding of our Black brothers' cultural heritage and knowledge. They have a lot to teach us. We have a lot to learn. It works both ways, but this journey, this Lamarama journey, I think is something we will all benefit from. So if you want to be part of it, please get a hold of David Cole and the crew at lamaramajourney.com, I think is the website from memory. and signify your interest in coming in August with the Voice of Freedom crew. Make sure you mention that you want to go on the Voice of Freedom tour in August, and we'll see how many people we can get. If we can get 20, we will do it, but we do have to get 20 people. All right, folks, I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. Just a quick reminder about the competition. If you are willing to be involved in it, it's not real difficult. Write a limerick. You can write a limerick that uses Voice of Freedom, that mentions Ainsley or Freedom Financial Solutions. You can call Voice of Freedom VoF if you want to write one that way, and Freedom Financial Solutions FFS if you want to do it that way. You can call Ainsley just Ainsley, or you can call Ainsley Bullion if you so prefer. Our membership is, well, not very large, I'll be honest. So the only way that you can become a member and win this 10-ounce bar of solid silver or one of 3 1-ounce coins is to become a member. Go to vofhq.com and sign up to be a member. You can do it from as little as $1.25 a day. If you don't want to become a member, I'm sorry, you don't get a chance to win the bar, which is a bit of a sad thing. You might be the best limerick writer, God ever put breath into. If that is the case, I urge you, please go spend $1.25 a week and become a VoF member, because that absolute brilliant little 10-ounce bar could be yours. $411.05, I think they're selling for right now. Could well be yours. Here's one that I produced earlier. A city of face masks and heathens, coerced and berated by leaders, but the people fought back against the medical hacks and found strength in their Voice of Freedom. And then there was one I did for Ainsley that says, Ainsley Bullion will give a good rate if you're buying or selling some weight, but silver or gold or that platinum billfold, Ainsley Bullion is best for you, mate. All right, folks, good luck. I really, really hope you put your thinking cap on. Vince is going to have the website up in the next day or two, so don't make him work all night tonight, but your entries will be able to be judged, and they will be judged by Cass from Freedom Financial Solutions, Paul from Ainsley, and Vince and I from Voice and Freedom. So we will do the judging between the 1st and the 5th of July, and we will announce the winners in the show on the 5th of July. Hopefully I'll be able to get Paul and Cass on the show to announce them then. That'll be great. Really looking forward to that. I'll have a word to Paul, see if we can't go out and film the pouring of the bar, so to speak, and the stamping of the bar. Of course, that'll mean we'll have to negotiate the M1 down to the Gold Coast. And you know what lives there? Plenty of dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!